Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Brian Kelly, the LSU Tigers, on an absolute heater on the recruiting trail. A couple days ago, flipping the commitment from five-star defensive lineman Dominic McKinley in the 2024 class, turning around a couple days later and landing the number one running back in the 2025 class and five-star running back Harlem Berry from the state of Louisiana. And my first description of Harlem Berry, a guy that we've talked about a couple times now, is he's more than just a running back. This is an offensive weapon for all intents and purposes. This is a guy that you get out in space and he is a threat to hit the big play. Every time he has the football in his hands, you take a look at what he brings to the table: a 10.57 100-meter dash time, blazing fast, and that speed translates to the football field. As a freshman at the high school level, ran for over 2,000 yards, 30 touchdowns again as a freshman in high school. And you see the track time get kind of carried over to the football field. And that's something we talk about a lot. Recruiting, you talk about track times, you talk about speed markers. Does that speed translate to when you have the shoulder pads and helmets on? And for Harlem Berry, it absolutely does. And it's not just the long speed that makes Harlem Berry special. His ability to vary his speeds, make people miss, change direction, that is kind of what stands out for Harlem Berry. And don't get it twisted, when he is in open field and it is a foot race to the end zone, nobody's catching Harlem Berry, but his ability to make defenders miss at the second level, how elusive he is, that's what really stands out. Want to talk about Harlem Berry, want to talk about where LSU is going on the recruiting trail. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys and a shout out to the LSU fans. This is a team that we're going to be talking a lot about over the next couple of days and weeks, not only in the transfer portal, not only in the coaching carousel department, but also on the recruiting trail, as well as they're going after five-star quarterback Bryce Underwood in the next couple of days as well. If you guys do enjoy the content, enjoy the updates, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Harlem Berry. And again, I think the best way to talk about Harlem Berry is turn on the film a little bit. And the one knock you might have with Harlem Berry is 5'11", 175, maybe a little light right now, but you got to keep in mind, he's a junior in high school right now. You would expect him to probably get up to 185, 190 pounds as he's entering into the LSU program, and then probably get up to 200 pounds. At 5'11", certainly can put some weight on that frame. But when you turn on the film, this is what LSU fans are most excited about. When he's in space, I mean, there's not a better guy in this class. I mean, the change of direction, the ability to be elusive, make people miss. And again, when it is off to the races, not many people, pretty much nobody, is catching a guy like Harlem Berry. This is where he excels outside of the tackle. That's not to say he can't run between the tackles. He finishes his runs extremely hard, but when he's in space, he is such a threat, and kind of reminds you of the running back in the 2024 class in Caden Durham, where it's just so much speed on the football field. And you look at what LSU is bringing in with a guy like Jelani Watkins in the 2024 class and Caden Durham, and then you look at the Curry Moore in the 2025 class. This offense is going to have so much speed, so much playmaking ability, and we always talk about it. The ability to hit those chunk plays, those explosive plays, that's what you get with all this speed. And for this LSU offense, I mean, it's really hard to see it not being the best offenses in the country over the next couple of years, kind of similar to what you saw in 2023. Harlem Berry, again, just a very exciting prospect that, again, I think he runs more physical than people give him credit for, but when he bounces it out, gets in space, it's just nobody's really catching it. And you take a look at what LSU is doing on the trail, sticking in this 2025 class. Bryce Underwood set to commit January 6th. Now, many of you guys know I'm a Michigan fan. I'm hoping Michigan can pull this one out, but it does sound like LSU is in the best shape for a guy like Bryce Underwood, who, you talk about Bryce Underwood, as a freshman and sophomore in high school, threw for over 5,600 yards, 76 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions. This is a guy that's played a ton of football at the high school level, kind of one of those generational arms. You see all the ones across the board, the number one quarterback in the class, the number one national player. Everybody wants Bryce Underwood, and it sounds like LSU might land him, and this is what the most exciting part is. You take a look at what LSU has in 2025. You have the number one wide receiver in the class in Decorian Moore coming from Duncanville. You now add the number one running back in the class in Harlem Berry, and then you add the number one quarterback in the class in Bryce Underwood. The potential of this 2025 class for LSU on the offensive side of the football is absolutely nuts. And you look at the offense in 2023 and you want that continued success. That is what it looks like. This is how you get that continued success. You win these battles on the recruiting trail. And the last thing that I think is most exciting is Brian Kelly making what I think was a tough decision to move on from Matt House and looking at this program and saying, this offense is going to continue to be one of the best offenses in 2024 and 2025 and 2026. We need to make sure the defensive side of the football is not holding this team back. I mean, this would be an extremely dangerous team in 2023 if that defense was, I mean, to be honest, to put it frankly, just average. It was such a liability for LSU. They couldn't overcome it. You make that change at defensive coordinator, you're going to be able to get talent to LSU. Now you need the coaching staff to match that. LSU, if they get this defensive coordinator hire right and they continue winning these recruiting battles in the high school ranks and marrying that with the success they've had in the transfer portal, this is going to be an extremely dangerous program for the next couple of years. And for fans aiding 2023 season, when you had the Heisman quarterback and the best offense in college football, Brian Kelly's building. And I think this is going to be a special team over the next couple of years, even in 2024, from what you saw from Nuss in the bowl game. Appreciate the LSU fans rocking with the boys again. You guys have shown a ton of support. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.